To comment during the Frankly Speaking show, you first need to open the video that is being streamed live. Look for the chat box on the side or bottom of the video player. This is where you can type your message. Click inside the chat box and use your keyboard to type out what you want to say. You can type words, use emojis, or even ask questions. Once you've typed your message, press the Enter key on your keyboard or click the Send button. Your comment will then appear in the chat for everyone watching the live stream to see. If you want to send another comment, just type it in the chat box again and press Enter or Send. Your new comment will show up below your previous one.
$121. Journalists don't like being the news. This past week, one of our brothers fell. Job Nelson was cut down. Life cut short, as so sadly will be the case with more than 1,000 of our countrymen, Jamaicans, before the end of the year. This situation has been going on for 20 years. Good day. This is the 121st episode of the Frankly Speaking Jamaica podcast. Thank you for joining us. If you are with us live, please feel free to comment. Now, the link that you use to get on live is also the link that anyone can use later on. So feel free to share that link. Watch out. Our special guest, this creator, researcher, and particularly we've called him again to speak to early childhood education. Last week he was making some significant comments, and people begged us to see if he could finish the comments with us today. He's going to continue that conversation. But before that, our regular panelists, Winnie Anderson Brown, Mary White, and Desmond Richards, are here with us. You might have realized that we've been having some issues today, but let's hear first from Winnie. Give us a peek into what you're going to be saying, dealing with this week. Okay, Winnie's not with us. Winnie? Okay. Desmond?
Yes.
Tell us where you're going this week. Go ahead.
Well, I'll be talking about landlessness and crime.
Right on the money, sir. And Mary? Mary?
I'll be talking about the three types of women.
We're having so many internet problems, and this is one of those issues.
Sir Matt, I'm hearing you. Sorry, I was muted. 3 types of women according as to how men has grouped them. So you want to stay tuned to see what category of woman, if you're a woman, that you fall into according to men.
According to Winnie is not hearing us. Professor Hutton, let's come right to you straight away. Last week you were telling us about how pointing out that although we have known this for years, I
am hearing you now. I am hearing you now.
Keep us late.
Buffering.
But let's see if we can.
Can you hear me?
Professor Hutton in there, Winnie, and speak. Speak you can. Please speak you can. You can, Winnie. Please speak for us.
Okay, so I'm going to. Well, last week I made the point that the early childhood system, early childhood education, is the Achilles heel of the education system. And unless we solve the problems related to early childhood, we'll continue to have significant difficulties with education overall. In fact, my own view is that we are tinkering with early childhood, and specifically, we need to look at basic schools, which represent about 68% of the children in early childhood education. You look at COVID-19, and the area of the school system that suffered the most was early childhood, and specifically basic schools. Many of those schools were closed. Teachers, the schools were unable to retain the teachers. Students left the system. And what we know, many of them did not return to the system. So this is an area that we really need to pay attention to, because if we fail to do that, that issue, that problem of literacy will get worse in the next 5 to 10 years. So this is an area that we need to look at seriously. My own proposal is that we need to consolidate early childhood, and specifically our basic schools. They are dispersed across the country. We have, in fact, 1,600 plus basic schools. And in consolidation, we could have, say, 400. And in doing so,
Run that figure.
in doing so, we need to look at our population centers. Where do we have population, where our children are, and locate our basic school there? That would strategically help us to reduce the number of schools. Of course, reducing the number of schools, we will have more teachers available to enhance the quality of training and teaching in these schools. So that is first and foremost what we need to do. And just bear in mind that the Patterson report signaled to us what is required. Efficiencies and higher standards can be achieved with evidence-based merging, consolidation, and creation of new early childhood institutions. So the Patterson report is also signaling that we need to pay attention to early childhood, and specifically basic school, if we want to improve our education system overall.
Well,
Professor, we have a caption. Desmond wants to come in, but we have a caption which says closing basic schools. I know that you are not saying close the basic schools. You're saying amalgamate, which means some of them would have to be closed. What aren't you saying when you're talking about population centers? What happened to the kids? What happened to the kids who live in those small communities? What you're saying, they're not going to have any basic school? Small communities which don't have a lot of children, they're not going to have any basic school. Is that the idea?
That is precisely part of the problem. That's why we have 1,600. In consolidation, we're going to spend some money on transporting children to schools. If we do the statistics, if we do the survey, determine the population center where the population may be small, we have to transport those children. And within a radius of 4 miles, I would say, would be reasonable to move children from the home to a school that will be of top quality. Top quality, we move our children there and increase the possibility of
who has
better
a
performance.
school, 6 children. Miss June, who has a school. Say that again, Professor. Oh, okay. Desmond, you had a question for Professor before he goes on? I heard you ask a question. Desmond?
Yeah, I was just about to comment on the point that you raised, because one of the things that is in Jamaica right now, those basic school, Miss Jones start a basic school on her veranda, and Miss Hallin has one too. No, so if we are going to consolidate, it means that those schools will have to be closing, and as the professor pointed out, then what will have to happen is that the transportation would have to be provided to take these children to the nearest school in the town centers. Now this is going to cause a lot of disruption and money, and we hope the government will take this up, because this is a major project, and it is a very important project.
Precisely, and it's going to cost the government. Not only that, I am proposing that we compensate those who own schools now and pay them over time. This is nothing new. If we decide to consolidate, and my own view is that government must play the critical role now. It's 186 years since emancipation. We need to solve the problem now. Some of the schools that started them, they operate in the same way now on those verandas. It cannot continue. It cannot continue. If you look at countries, Asian countries, the school system has been upgraded for years. We are still too far behind. And we cannot go forward with the old model. The old model is inefficient, ineffective. The ministry already says that you have 3 school sizes, one with 9 classrooms, the other with 6 classrooms, and the third with 3. So based on population, you can build the school based on the number of children available.
We're going to run here for another minute or.
Yeah.
But I'd love it, as you have said, your proposals are there, and Professor, one of the things that I really wanted you to give us before we finish this segment is what sort of costs we're talking about to lift the early childhood system over the next 3 to 5 years to some acceptable level that can support a program of literacy at the primary school, literacy and numeracy at the primary school. What sort of money would government, because this is largely
overall projection,
what sort of money is spoken of?
It will cost about 60 billion Jamaican dollars over a 20-year period. So, and of course, we cannot do all the.
Can you say that again? I think we didn't all hear it.
60.
Can you say that again, Prof? Just say it again. That figure again for us.
It will cost us 60 billion Jamaican dollars to do the full transformation of the early childhood system, and specifically basic school. It will take us 20 years plus. So in the first 5 years, so what will we accomplish in 5 years? How many schools we can build in 5 years? The other point is where will we get the resources? All these we have to look at seriously. But there must be a national commitment to transform early childhood, because that is the only way we're going to solve the problem fundamentally of the education system and start to perform like many of the Asian countries, where it is 80 to 90% of the children who are performing in accordance with set standards.
Final thing before you go, Professor Hutton. Where would the teachers come from?
Well, if you consolidate, just think about it. Instead of having 1,600, we have 400. Of course, we're going to select those who demonstrate the ability and quality to deliver, to teach. So the teachers are there. They would have to be relocated, and we would have enough teachers to provide for the schools that we know established. And remember, this thing won't happen overnight. It's going to take a number of years. So I do not see that as a significant problem, because if we start now, we have enough teachers and quality teachers in early childhood at the basic school level who could start the process.
But we have to start.
We have to start. And it must be transformational, because after 180 odd years and we are not doing better, we need to take severe, significant, and important steps to change and make the system work. And it can work.
Thank you for your insight. I said, I personally know childhood teachers who were concerned last week when they heard your suggestions about consolidation. They said that they have heard it before, but it's all a big idea of getting rid of the little people who have run school for years. Prof, you are getting rid of people for years.
Well, yeah, generally, my experience so far is generally people are afraid to take the step. So you tell me that, well, I went to a school like this, and here am I. I have 10 degrees, I have 3 PhDs, but that is one person. What happened to this 50, 60% of those who went to the same school? Where are they?
I'm sorry, viewers, much as we would like, we did hear better than last week. We got a general understanding of what he's saying. He's saying it's an imperative. He's saying it's a national project that must happen. Saying consensus. He's saying it won't happen overnight. Cannot happen overnight. He's saying it's going to involve some dislocation, compensation of those people who could no longer run those small schools, especially in small areas, areas with low population. And he's saying consolidation is the better way, and is the foundation. Now, if we want to change our literacy and numeracy rates and those problems we have in the primary schools, you better start with early childhood. Winnie, I know you are an educator, and I know you deal with the
not just an educator, but
mainly. Or you were what's your comments on?
Not just that. Not just that. I must establish this. We have had an early childhood institution that lasted from 1934 to 2019. So I am very close to early childhood education.
Say that again. Where was that?
The things that people don't understand.
Where was that?
Is that Bagatelle Basic School, now called the JME Center. It was long before there was. Say that? It is in Clarendon. It's a recognized basic school. They didn't just spring up in an ad hoc manner. The basic schools did not just spring up in an ad hoc manner. There was management, and you had schools that were recognized. This buffering not helping.
Yes. Okay. All right. So we
thank you for that. But it's not. Yeah.
Yes, we thank you for that, Winnie. Okay. very, the system is very bad today. But Desmond, let's take you.
Well,
Desmond, are you there?
yes, I am here. No.
The system is very bad.
This week, we lost a member of the fraternity. I'm talking about Job Nelson, who was murdered on the streets of
you want to go ahead, please?
He was murdered on the streets of Kingston.
We're having nightmares.
And Job is I think the fourth journalist to be killed in Jamaica over the years. And his murder is part of the crime problem that we are facing in the country. Yes, there has been some reduction when you compare numbers this year and last year. But blood is flowing on the streets of Jamaica. Too many people are being killed. And as we speak, we are going in a direction where we will see another 1,000 murder this year. This will be the 22nd year. For 21 years, we have had over 1,000 murders every year. It is totally unacceptable. And the strategies that are being employed.
Desmond, before we get lost in the data, just tell us a little bit about Job Nelson, because you worked with him, worked closely with him at different stages. Just tell us a little bit about Job Nelson.
Well, Job was a pacifist. Job was among a group of youngsters. We started at the Jamaica, now defunct Jamaica Record on West Street. Yes. And there we grew up. We were what I describe as the disciples, the missionaries of journalism in Jamaica at that time. The Jamaica Record at that time was the second daily newspaper, along with the Gleaner, veteran Gleaner reporter. Now, Job was such a peaceful person that when I heard that he was murdered, I was completely shocked, because I know that he wasn't a man of violence at all. And I can tell you that members of the fraternity, we would like to know, and we should pool our resources and our experience to find out why Job was killed. It is a great loss to the profession. No,
you know, Desmond, I broke you there, and I have a lot to say about Job, but so much has been said. But one of the things, Desmond, and I think I spoke with you on Rebel Radio about this. One of the things about these murders in Jamaica, I know you, for example, are very shocked, very hurt, devastated about the murder of Job. But we cannot forget that every one of these murders, well, almost every one of these 1,200 or so a year, a person is a son or a mother, a brother, sister, auntie. People hurt, whatever they come from, their trade as a mason or as a household helper. People who are around those groups, who know them, people hurt. And every time it comes home to any of us out there, Jamaicans, we must remember that people hurt. And it's hard and it's harsh. And this is something that we have got to get rid of out of this Jamaica. And don't be impressed by any 10% or any 5% reduction, or even 40% reduction. We must be in a situation where the trajectory is clear that we're going in the direction of a peaceful society.
Yes, Franklin, I'm in total agreement with you. we're in a distressful state. I can see where you are going. That right over the country, you have people mourning, saddened by the death of their relatives, their friends.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Now, the other issue.
A lot of interruptions. Yes.
The other issue that I want to deal with.
Desmond, before we take you, we have to take Winnie because we didn't get her last week and time is running away from us. And they say I must manage with an iron fist today. So, Winnie, please go ahead. Winnie, please go ahead.
And I don't know if you can hear me, but this thing has been really buffering. Can you hear me?
We're hearing you. Just go ahead, Winnie, please. Just go ahead. We're hearing you. We're hearing you. We're hearing you. We're all hearing you. Even if you're not hearing me, go ahead. Or the internet. The internet. Oh my God.
We're not hearing Winnie.
Can you hear?
No, Winnie is not hearing us.
Can you hear me?
I'm so sorry. And
You're hearing me.
Now, Winnie, you just have to speak, Winnie. Just go ahead and speak.
Okay.
Just speak. We're hearing you. Just speak.
Okay. All right. I just want, without going to what
we're hearing
I
you. So
planned
go to your second point, Desmond.
I just want to make this point that we need to remember that the primary schools do not, with the infant departments, they don't take the 3-year-olds. We need to remember that when we're planning and talking about that. That's a point I really want to make. So I think you can go ahead, Joshua, and show that clip where ChatGPT 4.0 is now available. So it means that our camera, the chatbot can now use our camera. So it means that we can show the chatbot things and it can speak to what we're showing and it can look at us and talk to us. Of course, that has to be using our camera. That was released from the 13th of May. So this is not just now.
No, we're going to be wrapping up now. I'm so sorry about this. I'm so sorry about this because we're going to be wrapping up now. We are in a world of technology where technology is supposed to be at our fingertips, but the present state of the internet in Jamaica is shameful. I mean, in doing this program and StreamYard, which is some basic technology, old technology, you can't even get uninterrupted a 30-minute program with people in different places, and if you take any one of them, they still get interrupted. Much less so it's when I was saying to you last week, it's almost ridiculous that this is the level of service we're getting in Jamaica now at the internet. Desmond is always talking about how far behind we are. But we're going to have to wrap up. I'm going to promise you that we with Joshua Black are going to do everything we can this week to have a seamless show. Next week, I don't know what we're going to do. Maybe we're going to have to hang up 2 Canon scan. And please, we are sorry about what has happened today. We thank Professor Disraeli Hutton for joining us earlier. Mary was also here. She got dropped off. Winnie was trying to get through her programming. Didn't work properly. Desmond not. Please join us again next week, Sunday. We're going to get it cleaner. We promise you. And I'm going to have 2 condensed cans and 1 piece of string through the middle of them. But we're going to get it to work. On behalf of all of us, I'm Franklin McKnight. Until then.